Response bias refers to a systematic tendency of individuals to respond inaccurately or consistently in a particular direction when participating in surveys, questionnaires, interviews, or other forms of data collection. This bias can distort research findings and lead to inaccurate conclusions if not properly identified. One common type of response bias is social desirability bias, where individuals provide responses that are perceived as socially acceptable or desirable, rather than reflecting their true beliefs, attitudes, or behaviors. This bias can lead to overreporting of socially desirable traits or behaviors and underreporting of socially undesirable ones. Acquiescence bias occurs when individuals consistently agree or endorse statements regardless of their content. This tendency to agree with survey items or questions can stem from a desire to please the researcher, avoid confrontation, or simply a habit of responding positively. Extreme response bias involves a tendency to consistently provide responses at the extreme ends of a scale, such as selecting the highest or lowest options, regardless of the content of the question. This bias can skew results and obscure the true distribution of responses. Non-response bias occurs when certain groups of individuals are less likely to participate in a survey or study, leading to a biased sample that may not accurately represent the population of interest. This bias can arise due to factors such as survey fatigue, lack of interest, or demographic characteristics. Order effects refer to biases that arise from the order in which questions are presented in a survey or interview. For example, primacy effects occur when responses are influenced by earlier items, while recency effects occur when responses are influenced by later items. Response bias can also be influenced by the wording and framing of survey questions. Biased questions can elicit particular responses or steer participants towards certain conclusions, even if those responses may not accurately reflect their true beliefs. Response bias can vary across cultures due to differences in social norms, communication styles, and attitudes towards survey participation. Researchers must consider cultural sensitivity and adapt survey instruments to minimize bias in diverse populations. To mitigate response bias, researchers employ various strategies such as using randomized response techniques, ensuring anonymity and confidentiality, using validated survey instruments, piloting surveys to identify potential biases, and providing clear instructions to participants. Response bias can compromise the validity and reliability of research findings by introducing systematic errors into the data. Researchers must carefully consider potential sources of bias to ensure that their results accurately reflect the phenomena under investigation.